Hey everyone, this is Cassandra coming at you from Spokehaven on behalf of Fitchburg Cycles. We're doing a little bit of experimenting with video today. The idea behind this is that we were supposed to host an in-person Fix-A-Flat clinic, actually a couple of them, but with everything going on, we wanted to not tempt fate and kind of cancel those events until further notice. So in place of that, I kind of wanted to do a video series splitting up some of the subjects that I tend to cover in our Fix-A-Flat clinics. That way, you know, you can still kind of prepare for your riding season, but do it virtually. The thing that I wanted to focus most on in this particular video is just gearing up, like what it is that you should have on you during a ride in the case of a malfunction, a flat tire, or needing to replace a tube, etc. So just kind of going over some of the tools and other things that you should be looking into investing if you don't have them already, or thinking about what you should be carrying with you while on a ride. So with that, we're going to kind of cover a few of the things that I bring along on almost all of my rides. It does kind of vary depending on where I'm going to be riding, for how long I'm going to be riding, if I'm riding with other people, if I'm going to be a ride lead, but just kind of covering some of the basics. So the cool thing about Fitchburg Cycles, yes, I'm going to continue to plug the shop because your support means a lot to us at this time, and we have all of these items available in some way, shape, or form at the shop. So the first thing I'm going to kind of cover is a product that actually comes from Live Cycling. It's called, I think, the Pretty Darn Quick Fix wallet or something of that nature. And pretty much all Fix-A-Flat kits or oh-no kits or tool kits, what have you, that you bring on your bike with you should have kind of these basic items. So I always bring a set of tire levers. Live and Giant, they provide 2 of them for you in their kits. Park Tools sells them in sets of 3, which are these little blue guys, the TL-1s. You'll often see them paired together in little sets of 3 when you're purchasing them at a bike shop. With that, I also bring some sort of a way to inflate either my tire or tube, depending on what kind of system I'm riding. So this particular kit comes with 2 16-gram threaded CO2 cartridges. A lot of people ask us what these are in the shop. This is just compressed air. So it's just compressed air in a tube. For the world of cycling, you need a little CO2 adapter that'll allow you to access that compressed air. So with the Live kit, they actually give you one where you thread the cartridge into the little adapter itself. There's a little lever that says open or close, so you can put it in the closed position until you're ready to kind of use it, but you screw this on until the seal actually breaks, and then you can fit this. This one I think you can do both Schrader and Presta Valves, which is really nice. Not all of them do that, and I can kind of go over what those 2 terms mean in a little bit too. But so some type of way to inflate a tire or tube. So this kit is a CO2 based one. They also make kits, or we just sell them separately, and that's just kind of your typical pumps. So this is a road pump. It's a very kind of basic one. It has a hose system that comes out. They also sell ones that kind of look like mini floor pumps. These are Lezyne products. We don't actually stock these currently at the shop. We can order them. We have options from Topeak. That's our primary brand in the store at Fitchburg Cycles. But every brand is going to kind of have their own version of these. I like to opt for one that comes with a gauge. This one actually comes with a gauge on it, so you can actually know that you're putting the right amount of air into your tires. And a lot of these can also do both Presta and Schrader Valve tubes. Along with that is you're probably going to want some sort of multi-tool. This one I like a lot because it comes with this little kind of ratchet. It's a 2-way, and you can also put another bit at the end of this tool. So if you really need to kind of get into a tight space and tighten something down, make an adjustment, especially for new cyclists where you may not know kind of where you want your seat height yet, or you're kind of adjusting some things on the bike, this is kind of really nice to have. It'll have kind of all the common sizes of everything that you need to adjust on like a road bike or even a mountain bike. They have some other options here that are mountain bike friendly. And also to make adjustments on your derailleurs and things like that, which if you're comfortable doing so, great. If not, that's, you know, a video for another time to kind of talk about. Otherwise, there's a lot of awesome resources out there for you. But some sort of multi-tool kit thing, I cannot tell you how many times this has saved a ride for somebody. I've gone out as a ride leader, and there have been people who their brakes are ill-adjusted, or their derailleurs, or something's gone wrong technically on their bike or mechanically on their bike, and lucky enough, myself or one of our riders has had the tool to kind of save the day. So cannot stress the importance of just simply being prepared, because even if you don't necessarily know what you're doing, it's likely that you're going to run into what I call kind of trail angels. They will give you a hand and help you kind of continue on your ride, whether that's fixing your flat or replacing your tube for you or making an adjustment on your bike. So just simply being prepared. So that's kind of like the basics that come with kits like this. They do come in other iterations. They do come with ones that have seat bags that kind of look something like this. I carry something very similar, so I have one of these for almost every single one of my bikes. That way I'm not really having to like swap things over. With the exception of this comes with me on pretty much all of my bikes because it's just so easy to kind of pull. I don't attach this to the bike. I usually throw this in a bag, so whether I'm carrying like a extended bike packing seat bag, so something like this on like a bike overnight or gravel ride or mountain bike ride or mountain bike like bike packing trip, or something of that nature. I usually bring this kit with me just because I can kind of throw it in bag to bag to bag. This one stays on my road bike. It's a road bike specific one. I have a road bike size tube for my road bike, and has all the kind of necessary tools that I need for that. So this particular kit that kind of comes with me, I'll go over some of the things that I carry. So I carry two different types of patch kits. So Park makes a stick-on version, and they also make a glue-on version. I like both for different reasons. I like the stick-on ones for if you get a hole in a tube or your tire that's pretty small, like a little like pinhole. If you can find it, that's awesome. These stick on, and they're a nice like temporary solution just to kind of get you home. The stick-on ones, you can actually make these last for, I've seen tubes that have lasted thousands of miles beyond getting a hole in them. They also have different sized patches. It takes a little bit longer for the glue to adhere the patch onto the tube, so like obviously if you're in a situation where you need to get somewhere fast, this may not be the easiest solution because you do have to wait, but it will allow you to kind of continue to reuse that tube until you want to get rid of it, assuming that the patch is holding up. So I really like it also because compared to other brands, Park actually puts all of the instructions on how to patch a tube or a tire with this kit. I usually also bring a tire-specific patch. They do have stick-on ones that you can cut to size that are a little bit thicker, heavier duty, so if you get like a gash or a larger slice in your tire, or you go over glass or something and you can pull it out, it'll actually patch the tire itself. So patch kits for both tires and tubes go in here. I also have, because my bikes run a tubeless setup, which again I will cover in another video, I bring a little item with me that allows me to take the valve core out of my tubeless tire and put in some sealant. I usually carry a little bottle of stand sealant, which I thought I had with me, but I don't today. But they come in these little 2-ounce bottles, and you can use them for tubed or tubeless bikes. I've used them in both to help seal up pinholes and things like that in tubes. I use that in my tubeless tire setup, which here is an example of a tubeless road tire, and it just comes in handy, so I usually bring one of those along too. Yeah, this is a little tool that comes with a lot of Giant and Liv bikes. If you own a bike from Liv or Giant, you may have gotten one of these from your dealer. Sometimes they accidentally get tossed when your bike is assembled. Likely your shop has them. Otherwise, Park Tool sells a really nice valve removal tool for, I want to say it's around $9, $10 at your local bike shop, where it'll work on both Presta and Schrader valves. Again, I'll go over what that means here in a minute. This is a good option to have if you are running a tubeless situation or have a valve that has a removable valve core. Again, I can go into what that means, or you can look it up online. There's lots of other resources too. The last thing that I usually carry in this particular kit, I do carry other stuff separately, is a chain breaker tool. I usually also carry a spare link depending on the bike that I'm riding. And then I of course bring a spare tube with me. If not one, sometimes two, or sometimes multiples if I'm leading a ride and I know that there's going to be a variety of different bikes. I'm not just riding with, you know, people riding road bikes or what have you. So I usually will bring a spare tube. Now, to kind of move on to the next step on knowing what to buy when you're looking for a tube, you can always ask your bike shop. Your bike tire should have the nomenclature or terminology on it. So on this particular tire, unfortunately Continental doesn't put it in bright letters or anything like that, but usually you can look on the sidewall of the tire, and on this particular setup it's imprinted in there, so it'll say the size of your tire. So it's usually the diameter first, so this is a 700C road wheel, and the width of the tire second, so it's a 28C tire width. So you want to get a tube that's going to match that or be within that range. So I can see by this tube, it's not in a box or anything. I just pulled it out of my spare parts bin. But the tube itself actually also has the nomenclature written on it. Usually tubes will come in a box, either like this or like this, and it'll have the information written on the side or the bottom or somewhere on it that'll kind of tell you. So this particular tube, since I don't have the box, it says that it's a 700 diameter, so the diameter is correct, but the width of the tube is 35 to 43, so that would not work on this particular tire because it's going to be too wide. If you try to use a too wide of a tube and too small of a tire, it's likely going to pinch flat. It's not going to, the bead won't set. You can have all sorts of issues. Not saying that you absolutely couldn't do it. There are all sorts of hacks out there, but it's more often than not that that's just not going to work. So instead, I have this other tube here. So it's a 700 diameter, so that matches the wheel, and then it's a 28 to 32 millimeter. So since it says 28 on it, I know that it'll work in that particular wheel. If for some reason my tubeless fluid in there can't seal up whatever I may have run over with my tire. So I know that if I carry this, I will be set. You can always go smaller tube to bigger tire. There's going to be all sorts of people that are going to comment and say things otherwise, but I just prefer to do that, especially on road wheels where it's already kind of can be difficult to fit the tube into the tire and the rim type of situation. So going with a slightly smaller tube in there makes it just a little bit easier, but this would be fine too, since it says, you know, 28 to 32. This would be also perfectly okay to use. You know, your bike shop is a great resource if you have these questions as to how to identify it. You know, bring your bike in, bring a wheel in, take a picture of your bike or the wheel even if you can't physically bring it in, and we will do our best to make sure that we're getting you set up with the right stuff. Worst case scenario, you buy the wrong size tube, you can bring it back and exchange it. I know we're really quite lax with that because it happens. Sometimes you just don't know, and we try to, you know, we'll kind of pare down your options based on asking you questions and kind of go from there and try to get you the best option for what you need. The other thing, so that I was kind of talking about earlier, is what type of tube do you need? What type of valve system does your bike use? Does it use a long, skinny valve like this? This is called a Presta Valve. This one in particular does not have a removable valve core system. It's just kind of, it is what it is, but these also come in different lengths. So this is a kind of shorter one. A 48 millimeter length is kind of becoming the industry standard on a lot of bikes because, as you can see, a lot of rims are coming a little bit more deep dish. So we tend to stock kind of the longer valved tubes, just that way it makes it easier. You don't have just a tiny bit of valve sticking out when you're going to inflate your tire. You actually have a good amount of valve, so your pump can, you know, get some purchase on there. The other type is this kind of Schrader car tire style. So if you know what your car tire looks like and you filled it up, that is what a Schrader valve is called. So and usually you can tell because it'll have like a wider plastic cap. this part of the tube will be covered in rubber versus being threaded. Not all the time, sometimes they are threaded, but more oftentimes than not, they're kind of covered in like this rubber material with a wider plastic cap on the top. Your rim, you can actually look at the drilling of the valve hole is going to be larger than kind of the skinnier Presta style. And in that situation, you can actually get adapters, so you can use a Schrader Valve rim with a Presta tube in a pinch. So there are some other options too to kind of convert that particular rim. So if you want the option to run a couple different types of tubes while you're out, it's nice to also be able to purchase one of those adapters. I don't have one with me today. I don't have a bike that I need to use one on, so I don't have one. As far as pricing out these types of things, a lot of the kits that come with either a pump or like the CO2 item that I kind of showed in there retail for roughly around like $50, and that's going to be pretty consistent across a lot of brands. The stuff that the Giant and Live kits come with are really nice. They're really high quality. I've seen a lot of options out there on Amazon and kind of other sites, but like the stuff that they give you or the pumps that they give you are really quite cheaply made, and they're not super reliable. So just, you know, do a little bit of research. There's a lot of different brands, like I said. We do Giant and Live. We also do Toe Peak. Blackburn is a company that we work with and trust, and they make a lot of really nice stuff like this as well. So I would just recommend, you know, investing in something that is reliable, and then also just getting used to how to use it, learning how to use it. Do some fleet supply clinics at a shop, you know, do some research yourself. There's a lot of resources online. Park Tool, again, we sell their products. They are the #1 tool supplier in the bike industry. They have a wealth of knowledge on their website. They have a YouTube channel. They also do a lot of things on social media. They put out new books every year on updates on bike repairs and how-tos and things like that. And they're just a really great resource, so we love to support them. So those are kind of the basic things. So again, there's a lot of different options to carry your gear. These are different seat packs. You can even buy little cute top tube bags like this to throw your gear in as well. But it's worth the investment, especially if you just bought a bike and it's maybe been a few years since you've ridden, and you kind of don't know where to start. Usually we hate to just send someone out the door with a new bike and not anything else, like not sending them out with any of these tools. We're not trying to push a sale on you. It's just wise to have with you. Just, you know, if you're going out on a ride, we don't want you stranded. You know, we want you to be able to continue your ride and kind of learn what it takes to kind of take care of yourself in a situation if you are out on a ride, or just making sure that you have the proper gear with you in order to keep your bike functioning and happy. So if you guys have any questions or any suggestions or want to see videos on specific content, please feel free to comment or reach out to us directly. I'm on social media. Fitchburg Cycles is on social media. I'll try to kind of post all the links and necessary info around or below, however we end up editing this video. So, and I'm Cassandra. I am one of 2 of the store managers at Fitchburg Cycles, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have in regards to bike repair, maintenance, any sort of cycling information questions. I am here for you. I've worked in the industry for a very long time. I've been a brand ambassador. I graduated United Bicycle Institute for their shop management program and repairs. So I have a lot of knowledge that kind of backs up what I'm talking about. So I want to thank everybody for continuing to support Fitchburg Cycles during this time, and we are open. We are continuing to repair bikes and sell bikes. We just have some, you know, kind of rules in place, so be sure to kind of just check out what you need to do in order to come and visit us at this time. We're also offering pickup and delivery of service bikes in the greater Madison area, which you can just give us a call. I will put our phone number somewhere for you to kind of see. Otherwise, you can go to our website and get that information as well. It's fitchburgcycles.com. You can find us on Facebook at Fitchburg Cycle, or facebook.com/Fitchburg Cycles WI, and we are also on Instagram at, and then it's Fitchburg Cycles WI as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something today. Again, this is video one of hopefully a series that we can kind of get going to kind of cover some other basic topics when it comes to repairing a flat, or replacing a tube on your bike. It's kind of hard to film these all at once just due to time constraints and such, but we will hopefully get the next video out here in a couple of days, so stay tuned with us, and thank you again for watching. Have a good day.